Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Boss Rush Podcast, a great place to play games and be better. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deerigan. Alongside me, as always, is the Mad Pharmacist herself, Stephanie Klimov.
Good evening and hello, friends.
Hello, Stephanie. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm caffeinated with mushroom coffee. So, side note, that mushroom coffee has cordyceps in it, and all I could think about was The Last of Us, and then I'm going to turn into a zombie.
Oh, so like halfway through this podcast, you're going to turn into a clicker or something?
Yes. Like, I can't do the weird noise.
Or a bloater or whatever they are.
Oh, no, that takes time. That takes time, honey. Woo. Anyway,
Speaking of taking time.
But it's all right. I'm here. I haven't turned yet, so...
We'll check back in an hour. Speaking of time, it's time to introduce PK Power Pat Klein.
That's right. And I'm turning different colors.
Wait, what?
I got new ink the other week.
You
Want to see it?
You got a
Oh, yeah.
Persona.
Take it off. Woo.
Take it off.
No nips on YouTube. No!
Oh, Persona.
Yeah. I love the color.
The Phantom Thieves.
Yep. They're going to take your heart right over my heart.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Yeah.
Pretty cool.
I'm excited. I like it.
Pretty cool.
I already got plans for tattoo number 3 coming up in September.
I was always
it's
too
going to be a
scared to get it.
sleeve, and it's going to have like Japanese landscaping on it.
Ooh.
Wow.
I've always wanted one, and I'm just too scared of needles to sit there for hours on end to get stabbed 70,000 times to make something cool.
That is fair. It is very fair.
It's not that bad, actually. Yeah, does it hurt? It does, but, you get used to it.
I was going to say Pat got addicted to the pain just like I did.
Oh, we're all addicted to pain. It's fine.
It's great when it got close to like a rib bone, because then all of a sudden you felt your whole skeleton vibrate, even though it hurt like hell.
Yikes.
But it vibrated, so it was like this really weird pain, but pleasurable feeling.
Oh. Well.
It's something I can't really describe, and you'd have to try it out.
Good vibrations, right?
Good vibrations.
Speaking of good vibrations, vibrating his way onto this podcast today is none other than the legendary host at Secret Friends Unite and Co-op Mode, Todd Oxtra. Todd, welcome back to the show. So glad you're here.
Salutations and greetings, my friends. Yes, it's been too long. Corey put up the bat signal. I came in, and I'm here to talk about video games. And I do have one tattoo. I got it after my fiance broke up with me. I was in the military. That was a long time ago, and it's pretty faded, so I need to get that bad boy touched up, and I think I'm going to make it a anniversary present combined with my wife because she's wanted a tattoo. So I think I'm going to say next April we'll hit 25 and say, honey, you've always wanted a tattoo. Let's go get one. I'll get mine.
Nice.
Looking pretty because they do age out. So if you make them, if you have a lot of tattoos, just remember it's going to be more maintenance the older you get, and if gravity does happen.
Yeah,
gravity happens. Quote of the day.
Yeah. I'll just stay out of the sun. Apparently that helps, not getting sun on them. I don't know. That's what I was told.
Moisturize.
Yes.
It helps. It helps not getting the sun on myself too, because I get crispy real quick.
I was going to say the three of us are looking pretty pasty over here.
Yeah, because that's all we needed was more white guys on this podcast.
All right, it's okay. I balance everything out with several.
That's right.
I don't know what you want to call it. Let's not
melanin. Your melanin has increased. Their balances.
This is the stereotypical podcast: 3 white guys and 1 non-white woman.
Yeah, it balanced it out from 3 weeks ago when it was two African Americans, a Serbian, and then me.
Oh, well.
So I was the really
Minority in
odd
this
color
case.
out.
Don't say it. Don't say it.
Well,
I don't know.
you know,
I said it. Does it count if I say it?
That's true. You're gonna pass.
enough of the
Sorry.
racism. We're here to talk about video games and
Yes.
stuff along those lines, maybe. Yeah, Todd, you talk about geeky stuff. You're our guide to the geek side. Why don't you tell us about Secret Friends Unite?
Secret Friends Unite. It's your guide to the geek side, just like Corey said. We do all things geek over there. So we do our Prime podcast, which is all things geek media. We just reviewed Megan 2.0. If you're interested in that just dropped today. We're going to be doing all the big summer movies, Superman, Fantastic Four, and then we'll be doing some fun games on the side. And let's see then. Charlie and Mark do their Star Wars podcast, Holocron Chronicles. Charlie does his Star Trek show called Code 47. Then we do our video game show, Co-op Mode, with Mark the Canardian. And we're always looking for guests too. So if anybody is interested in talking about the geeky stuff they love so much, video games, we're always looking for guests to come on the show and have fun with us. But check us out, secretfriendsunite.com. And if you want to try out our Patreon, you get everything ad-free and first. So thanks for having me on, guys. This is great.
Yeah, Todd, glad you're here. So happy you're here. This is great.
Have you checked out Ironheart yet?
I am through the first half, so the second half drops tonight. And I will say this, just like Echo was a show I really didn't expect to love, and I really did. I would say the same thing with Ironheart. So far, the show's got a really unique take on some things. I really like what they're doing. Mm-hmm. The villain's a little, but I like the guy playing him. So I'm hoping the back end is stronger, but it's playing out much better than I expected.
No, I wasn't sure what I was expecting going into it, but I like I like what they're doing with both holding technology and also magic at the same time, and like getting them to mesh together. It's interesting, and the characters are pretty good too. A lot of character with the characters.
I agree. There's a great moment of someone dealing with guilt over death and trauma that is being helped with an AI companion, which AI is so negative these days that it's nice to see there's actually maybe some benefits from AI. So if you're curious, check it out. Yeah, Ironheart's very positive, female-led Marvel show on MCU. So check it out.
Speaking of Marvel, Todd, I've been wanting to watch the new Daredevil show, so I had the great idea of going back and watching all of the Netflix run of Marvel stuff. Let me tell you,
he does this to himself all the time. It's like, I want to see the latest, so I'm going to go back and do 100 things before it.
let me tell you, it does. So I stopped watching after season 1 of everything. So like, everybody's like, well, it gets bad after the Defenders. I'm like, I don't know. People say that a lot. Well, I'm here to tell you that most of it, except for Daredevil, gets bad after the Defenders. I'm like halfway through the last season of Luke Cage, and it's like, what is even happening in this show? Like,
I actually like Luke Cage. I like those two shows. Iron Fist. Do not watch that show. It's horrible. It's horrible. Do not watch that.
I kind of like the first season in like this weird way, but I don't know.
I'm curious what they're going to do with Iron Fist, because rumor is he's going to be on the Eyes of Wakanda show that's coming out later this year.
Interesting.
So I hope it's not the guy that they got, and that they're like reinventing the Iron Fist.
Well, it is a mantle that you can pass along like a power. So maybe that's he's given it up to go on and run his company and give it to somebody else. No longer the white savior, as they would say. But Corey, I would say recaps are always your friend if your time is limited. And just jump into Born Again. It's amazing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm this far already. I only have one season of Iron Fist and The Punisher left. So
okay.
I think I watched them out of order because I was like, I don't care. I'm already watching Jessica Jones.
Because Defenders came out like after everything. So if you watch the Defenders early in.
Yeah. I don't know.
What I really liked about... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I was just kind of like agreeing. I was like, yeah, I don't know really how this is ordered, but here we are.
What I really liked about Born Again is, it brings all the characters back from the Netflix series, but you don't have to know anything about the Netflix series to actually enjoy it. Like they're there, but the series is also not really connected, other than it's the same guys and maybe they came from the same universe, but the stories are not carrying through,
Yeah,
into the Marvel world.
Yeah, I'm sure that was intentional. But I'm looking forward to that at some point soonish, maybe. Speaking of look forward to, you can look forward to this podcast, the Boss Rush Podcast. This is the flagship podcast of the Boss Rush Network and Boss Rush Media. We record every episode live on Twitch, YouTube, and the platform formerly known as Twitter every Tuesday night. So come hang out, be a part of the conversation in the live chat. Give us a follow while you're there. If you'd like to support Boss Rush, you can check us out on Patreon, patreon.com/Boss Rush Network, where you can gain early access, exclusive access to content, and more by becoming a Patreon producer. You can join for as little as $1 a month, and you get all this extra stuff. It's really fun. You should join. You can also join for free and get all of our main podcasts on one feed for free. So that's a benefit. But if you can't support us financially or join us live, you can find us on YouTube, youtube.com/Boss Rush Network. You can watch us, catch all of our video content, and all that good stuff. Check out all of our content on bossrush.net, including our daily banters, reviews, and more. Well, everyone here knows the drill. It's this is one of those topical podcasts, as they say. Who wants to go first? Pat, I'm picking on you.
Picking on me? You always pick on me.
I do.
It's fine. Okay. It lets me know I'm alive.
Are you alive?
Yes, I am.
What's your topic?
Well, guys, recently we had Death Stranding 2 has come out, and it got me thinking that the thing about it, it's made by Hideo Kojima, who is known for some very outlandish and some very crazy ideas. And Death Stranding was a game that definitely had a lot of crazy ideas, a lot of originality, and things that just maybe go way beyond what humans are normally capable of thinking of. And it got me thinking, like, what are some other weird games that we have played in our gaming history? Like,
man, there are a lot of weird games out there.
There are, if you know where to look, there are some really weird games, and even if you don't know where to look, you might accidentally stumble on some weird games.
I mean, if you played games during the Xbox 360 era, you know some weird Xbox Live arcade games out there, like genital jousting.
Hey, you stole like one of my only good answers. Damn it, Corey.
There was like this weird climbing game where you had to like attach yourself to all these different versions of yourself. I forget what it was called.
Oh, okay. I was thinking of the one where you're like in a pot and you had a stick to move around.
Oh,
I forget what it's called though.
Oh, Todd, I think you're on mute.
Weird.
If you're
Yes. It's one of those games where it makes it movement is very often awkward, like baby steps or quap. I think it was quap. What was it called? Quap.
Yeah. Or Octodad. That was a weird one.
How do you not know that you got replaced by an octopus?
I know.
No. Perfect cover. Gal's Panic. This was at an arcade when I was a kid. Basically, it's Quicks, where you had a picture of a lady, and if you uncover enough spots, she gets really scantily clad. Check it out. It's so weird. Like, why is this at my arcade? And it was, and they got scantily clad and they made funny noises. And then if you waited too long, they turned into like demons. So it was like, but yeah. Gal's Panic. Check out the videos of it if you want to be entertained in a very titillating late 80s, early 90s sense.
There was
like,
one game Oh, go ahead, Steph.
no, you start. I was just kind of thinking as I
Oh.
was talking. I can go after.
The one game that I thought was probably the absolute weirdest one I played was called The Missing, JJ Macfield and the Island of Memories. It's a game by Swery, who is the director of Deadly Premonition, and lately he's been trying to do some collaborations with Suda51, who is another one of those really out there video game directors. But this game, like I played only a little bit of it because this was just way too weird for me. But you played as this girl, and you're on this island. It's like a 2D platform, puzzly platformer, and you purposely had to damage yourself so that you could like lose limbs or like maybe cut your head off so that your head could also now roll underneath like a buzzing saw blade. Or you had to cut a limb off so that you could use that limb to throw it at a button that was out of reach. It's like this game just made no sense of what was going on or why you were doing this. And I don't really even remember much about the plot. I just remembered having to mutilate yourself and solve puzzles with your body parts.
It sounds like
thought that
Scorn
was
almost.
But it was not like realistic looking. It was it was pixelated cartoony.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Anyway, Steph, you were saying?
Oh, I was just saying like how weird can be taken as like a good or a bad thing. Like when I think weird in a good or funny way was genital jousting. That was kind of the first weird game that I played because I'm just like, no way are there video games about penises, and it was
Surprise.
It's just, and the sounds it makes, like this gushing wet moist sound as you move around, and like you can get objects like where your butt would be, but that's where the balls are. I don't know. It's just like, what? So it was definitely like weird, but not that penises are weird, but the game premise was weird. And then just because Todd mentioned Gal's Panic, there's one that I had to play. Like, remember how we had an After Dark episode a long time ago? Maybe it was one of the first episodes where we just like read some of those like hentai like games on the Nintendo eShop. Now, this one isn't hentai, but I saw one called Pub Encounter, and I bought it. And you play as a young woman, and you willingly enter a pub that's strictly full of older gentlemen, and you just like go and date and get seduced by a bunch of older men. It's
Not sugardaddy.com, no.
It's very close. So I'm like,
It could be a game for any fantasy out there.
Yes.
Well, I mean, you go back to what Leisure Suit Larry. I mean, those games were all about your goal was seduce women, and most likely those games were played by, teenagers or younger, and a lot of the games they had like codes to actually access them to make sure that you knew your age. They ask you like trivia that this is before the internet, like who was Richard Nixon? And like, how would I even know that? So they were hoping that they could ask you trivia that kids obviously would know. And then once you got smart enough, you could figure it out. Or they had a manual and you had to say, go to page 32. But my dad also got me games on the Commodore 128. And somehow I ended up with a game called The Farmer's Daughter on the Commodore 128. And that's all I need to say. So yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And I was good old Custer's
9.
Revenge.
Oh gosh.
Wow. And oddly enough, my last one was something I noticed that you had on your like talking points, Pat. So I won't get into it, but I will just say that Katamari Damacy. But I mean that, but I say weird in a good way because I love the Katamari games. I think it's very endearing, but it's weird especially if someone's like never played games before and they see like the dude's head and the weird stuff he says. So,
and don't forget it's polar opposite Donut County.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah.
Donut County, what a game! That's a great game. That should be on somebody's list from our pre-show of
you're
getting
right.
people back into games.
Yeah, my son
Donut County.
loved that game. Yeah.
Yeah.
You guys ever play Pool Panic? where you are basically a pinball or like a pool ball, and you have to make yourself go and put everybody in like pool holes. It's a very weird game. It's called Pool Panic. It's very weird. It's like very Rick and Morty esque humor.
I have not.
I played some of those Rick and Morty style games though. The ones from Justin Roiland's company before he got kicked out.
Oh, High on Life. Are you talking about High on Life?
High on Life.
VR ones?
It was High on Life. It was someone saves the universe. Forget what the guy's name was. Trevor. Yeah, Trevor Saves the Universe. And Accounting Plus, which was a VR game that Stoy absolutely loved to play.
I remember the era during like... Oh, sorry, Pat. Go ahead.
Oh, no. Go ahead. I was just going to say or mention other people who had games, but go ahead. I'll do that at the end.
I was just going to say, I remember like the era of like the PS2, GameCube, Xbox, when weird games really started coming out too, like the Guy game, and the publisher got in trouble because there's a 17-year-old girl in it. And then BMX XXX came out. That was
horrible.
And everybody was mad at the GameCube version because it had the black bars over the chest area when you like made them naked. So that was, everybody was mad at the GameCube version. I was like, well, Nintendo guys, come on. What do you want?
Mosquito Man, wasn't that one Mosquito?
Yeah, Mr. Mosquito. Yeah,
Mr. Mosquito. Yeah,
yeah, and you fly around and like. Go ahead, Pat.
Drink the blood. Yeah, you flew around and you tried to drink the blood of your victim.
Yeah, and the level on the demo disc that came with PlayStation Magazine was when the girl was in the bathtub and you had to like fly around her in the bathtub and like get certain target areas. We'll say
that's troublesome.
It's a different time. It was on a demo disc.
Yeah, and demo discs. I lived off of demo discs for a long time. But you know, but then like I think of like weird games that came out at that time too that like try not to be gross anymore, like happy weird games like Pikmin came out at that time. That game was really weird at the time. I fell in love with that game. There's a game called Trapped where you are stuck in this castle and you set traps while you're trying to escape this castle. That was really cool. And then we got like, you know, the birth of Team Eco essentially with Eco and Shadow of the Colossus. Those games are like, you know, Eco's really weird, but it's charming. Characters are fun. The colors are vibrant. Like it's a cool entry. So, you know, weird doesn't necessarily mean awkward or bad. It's just
it's like just a very original ideas or things that may not have necessarily worked out. Like for example, all the things that like Kojima has like added to his games, like his Metal Gear Solid series, for example. Like you have these characters that are just really out there, or you'd have like some serious moments, but then there'd be, you know, you have other moments where you have like Solid Snake kissing like girly posters when he's hiding in a locker and you hear the sound of it. It's like just some random stuff. Or the bomber in number 2 with the roller skates.
Or the monkey in the diaper that was part of the arms seller in 4. That was drinking soda for some reason.
Yeah.
Sure. Yep. I was going to mention. I mean, some of the games. Like, do you guys ever play Pony Island? That is a very weird game.
Yes, it's the guy that made Inscription, right?
Yes. And it's such a game where you feel like, am I going insane? Where is this going? It goes awry, and Inscription's great too. I love those type of they kind of play with different things. I mean, even like a game like Undertale, that's a game that's very weird but very acclaimed now.
Yeah, that's the weird in a good way.
Though.
Very like almost fourth wall breaky and messes with your head kind of thing.
Pet the dog and you keep petting the dog and the head just like goes up above the screen and then you still keep petting it. All of a sudden you see it like coming from a different direction.
Well, I did Doki Doki, was it Fan Club?
Literature Club.
Literature Club. So I was playing that with Chris Sean over at 1H1D. We were actually doing it together, streaming it live, because we're like, we've heard this game gets weird. So we were like reading it and doing it. We didn't get to the weird part yet, but I've heard it gets very creepy and weird. So, but that's another game that you just don't expect. And, you know, it gets like even Five Nights at Freddy's, you know, the way that game got such notoriety and so big just as a unique premise. So.
Yep. Well, I asked the question out on the interwebs, and some of our friends here of the Boss Rush podcast had a few different things to say. Christian S. from the Franchise Festival said SOS, a 1993 game, a semi-roguelike SNES side-scroller in which you play people navigating a stand-in for the Titanic as it sinks is right up there. Pathologic at 2005, and Shadow the Hedgehog 2005. I think he means 06 for that one. Are also pretty wild too. Of course, the most experimental stuff is on itch.io. Block Gaming said LSD Dream Simulator takes the cake. Notable mentions are Harvester, Seaman, Pathologic, Total Distortion, Nobi Boy, Plumbers Don't Wear Ties, Xenoclash, Deadly Premonition, Barkley Shut Up and Jam Gaiden, Yumi Nikki, Zombie Nation, Killer 7, and Attack of the Mutant Penguins. And then Taylor, my co-host of the video game Boss Rush Book Club, said probably Katamari Damacy, in which I then exclaimed, we need to get you into some weirder shit.
It's true.
Fair enough. And side note, just hey to everyone that's in the chat that's been saying hello to us since we started. So, hey, y'all. And Sam says, God Hand was weird but cool. Has anyone played God Hand?
I have heard of it and seen it, yes.
Yeah.
It is
notoriously
Platinum Team.
I think it was from I think it was like Clover, one of Clover's first games.
Clover's, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, IGN notoriously gave it like a 3.5 out of 10, but everybody loves it, you know, like that has played it apparently. So I don't know. But
well, these are wonderful lists. Many of them I've heard of, some not. So I might just, speaking of that backlog, add to it because I gotta have me some more weird games.
Oh, that reminds me. So Christian said Seaman, right, Pat?
I do remember the Dreamcast game.
Seaman was weird. Right, but that reminded me of some other weird games on the Dreamcast, specifically.
Oh no!
First Blue Stinger was kind of like this weird Christmas time Resident Evil ripoff, but like not scary at all. But the real game in that series that's really weird is the Ill Bleed, which was I mean that is a weird game. Very hard to find now.
Game, right?
Yeah, very hard to find now. But yeah, that game was weird because like you went into this haunted house and like you had to like try to save your friends and you know, depending on what powers you were using and like trying to use your sonar stuff because, you know, girls with purple hair have sonar that you can hear weird sounds now.
Come on, everyone knows that.
Yeah, I know.
You can see the color or hear the color.
Yeah, everybody was so excited when you beat it 2 times. The third playthrough, you played through in a purple bikini that matched your hair. Yeah. In case everybody out there was wondering.
It's an incentive, I guess.
Well, let's say, Steph, for you, if you want to get a weird game that is definitely for the ladies or the guys that like the guys, that is Choaniki. A lot of buff dudes in a shmup game wearing like Speedos.
Okay.
Choaniki.
You're gonna have to help me with that spelling, but definitely.
A lot of weird like dating sims out there too, right? Like what was that one on PSP where like you dated pigeons?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yes.
It's
it was the bird dating simulator, yeah.
Yeah, How to Full Boyfriend.
Yep.
And then
You literally dated pigeons that turned into like guys.
and then I think Date Everything just came out on Switch too.
I was going to say it sounds a lot like that.
Wasn't it the one you date like swords or something that become like humans or something like that?
Yeah, Boyfriend Dungeon. Yeah. Ed was obsessed with that game for a while.
Everything can be shipped, as we know.
Yeah.
Everybody will date everybody.
Guys, what's the weirdest thing we can come up with and make a video game out of and ship it? See what happens.
Everybody say one word and then we make a game out of it.
Okay.
One topic. Okay. Corey, start. First word.
Desk.
Steph.
Jump rope.
Patrick.
You're thinking too much.
Simulator.
Chat,
Toilet.
add something. Sorry, I mean, Todd, what'd you say?
Toilet.
Toilet. Whoa.
Toilet, desk, jump rope.
We make a game out of four words?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, who's the publisher and going to describe this game to companies to buy?
Devolver Digital.
Corey.
Devolver.
Yes.
Yeah.
Devolver. Or Wired Productions might do it.
Well, we know people at Devolver. We can sort of we can make it happen. We're gonna have to find people who know how to make video games, but
that uses a jump rope to traverse using desks, as it's kind of like what was it, the Echoes of Wisdom, where you use beds, but now you can traverse with desks.
Yes.
The other part, Patrick?
Simulator. So it's got to have realistic effects.
Physics? Okay, there you go.
Realistic physics.
And it's a day in the life of the toilet, but please not Skibbity Toilet.
Correct. You got to jump on that bad wagon. You got to be associated, but not the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I've still avoided Skibbity Toilet somehow. I don't even know what it is.
So my son doesn't even want to tell me what it is. So
yeah, I'm not gonna.
But there's toys at Target. That's the worst part.
I saw it and I'm just mortified. I'm sorry.
And Michael Bay's going to make a movie out of it.
Shocking.
Yep.
True. Yep.
Wait, is that a legitimate?
Yeah.
Yes.
He's also making another Transformers movie, so that's
Wow, Transformers and Skibbity Toilet. What a resume.
Yeah. And Bad Boys 5.
Transforming toilets with Will Smith.
Oh, jeez.
Just combined into one franchise.
Oh my gosh. We need to, by the way, make this kind of into a game once in a while. I think, Pat, we did this once on the EXP cast where we would all pick like a random genre or a tag from Steam or something, and then we have to come up with a really quick pitch for that game.
I'm adding it to the doc template right now.
We do one called Pitch Meeting where we have like 4 categories and I've pre-named things, and then randomly I say pick a number and I give them to the people. So basically like a protagonist name, a genre, type of game, and things. It's very fun. I can send it to you guys if you want to play around with it. But it's a good way to go. Yeah, it's Pitch Meeting. You pitch it to a game developer or a publisher.
Awesome.
Well, Pat, are you satisfied with that topic?
I am satisfied with how weird this topic got.
Yeah.
Are you satiated, as they say?
Adding
a weird topic.
I guess I can't think of anything funny to add to that.
Well, Stephanie, I'm moving on to you.
Moving on to me.
Yeah.
But I'm writing timestamps. All right, no worries. Mine is not, I don't know, that's hard to follow a past topic. But anyway, my topic is to revisit mobile gaming. Are mobile games really that bad? And I only say it that way because I think it's those who are, I don't know, more into the gaming community where there's kind of a stigma or stereotype like, oh, you're not a real gamer if you play on mobile, which is interesting because I feel like a lot of the younger generation prefers mobile. So I want to revisit that topic. So here's my write-up. Most gamers, quote unquote, scoff at mobile games, citing them mostly as shovelware. Well, that's not necessarily untrue. We are seeing sincere attempts to put quality games into the hands of another population, perhaps. For example, we're seeing a wave of console games ported to mobile, such as Stardew Valley, Fortnite, Unpacking, Dead Cells, Resident Evil 7, and A Space for the Unbound, which is a recent addition.
Mm-hmm.
Recently, I also interviewed Planetary Core Games for their debut title, Academy of Super Pets. That is the most recent Boss Rush Spotlight, by the way. And one thing that they said, because I asked them, like, oh, why mobile? And they said, we do feel like it's still an untapped area where you can find quality games. And they wanted to be that example of a quality game that you can find and enjoy on a mobile platform. And I did download it. I'm playing it. I am waiting for their next update, which will add a lot more to it. It is a free-to-play game, one of those things where you could buy up more stuff, but it's not a, haha, we're going to lock important stuff behind a paywall. And I was pretty impressed with, again, with this preset expectation of how a mobile game is. So I wanted to kick off with some talking points just to kind of dispel what I had to dispel some of my thoughts about mobile gaming. So according to Modor Intelligence, the 2025 mobile gaming market is 135 billion, and it's projected to balloon up to almost 230 billion in 2030, which is only in 5 years. Some cool statistics, because I'm a science nerd, so I love statistics. In-app purchases hold 61% of the mobile gaming market, where advertising is about 15% and will grow to that in 2030. Android accounted for 65% of the revenue last year, and iOS is projected to register the highest. Let's see, smartphones commanded 92% share of the mobile gaming market last year, whereas tablets are anticipated to advance at the fastest pace to 2030, which for me as a parent gives me mild rage because I know it's just all those tablet kids, but I'll keep that to myself. As far as type of games, casual or hyper casual, I didn't realize hyper casual was a thing, took a 34% revenue share last year, with role playing games being on track at a robust 14%. How would age generations categories? This kind of surprised me, but not really. Gen Z has your preference for hyper casual gameplay. But there's actually a lot of older folk that put a lot more time on mobile games. So players aged 13 to 28 clock 7.2 hours a week on mobile games, only 1.8 hours ahead of millennials, and 73% prefer sessions shorter than 10 minutes. I put some interesting graphs in our chat, which I know our listeners and viewers can't see it, but basically we're seeing this interesting curve where teenagers are way more into mobile gaming than consoles. Then you have the millennials, Gen X, which prefer consoles. And then when you get to age 53 plus, tabletop and mobile games are primary versus console games. So I know I threw a lot at y'all, so I'll just stop before I talk about anything else. And what do you guys think about mobile games? And do you think it's going to boom, I should say?
Yeah,
Well,
I actually think there are really great mobile games out there. This is gonna be a controversial statement, everybody. So hold on to something. I think so. I think people who've been following me or us for a while know that I think Tetris is probably the closest thing to a perfect video game that I've ever played in terms of mechanics and just how the game works and how you play it and the fairness and everything. I think Tetris is clearly the closest thing to a perfect game, and so is Miss Pac-Man. But I also think that Angry Birds is one of the most perfect video games out there. I think Angry Birds is an awesome mobile game. The puzzles they come up with, the different things that the birds can do, I think I think Angry Birds is a great mobile game. I think Plants vs. Zombies, when that came out, was an awesome mobile game. I think of Threes as an awesome mobile game. And then you get into like what you would call quote unquote real games on mobile. I think the best way to play Final Fantasy Tactics is on iPad. I think the War of the Lions port is really good. I think the touchscreen works really well. I think they adapted it well. I think that's one of the best ways to play that game. So, and then you look at things like Apple Arcade, which is doing really well for Apple, regardless of, how much or not much they promote it. One of my favorite Switch games of last year, the Ninja Turtles game that came out, started as an Apple Arcade game. Oceanhorn, which is a really good top-down Zelda clone, started on Apple Arcade. That was awesome.
Corey, didn't that Fantasian game also start off as mobile?
Yep.
Yeah, Fantasian Neo Dimension. That was a two-parter on Apple Arcade, and now it's available on Switch. And you can really tell by that battle system, right? With it looks like you're supposed to swipe in a pattern, right? And you just kind of use the buttons now. But even Nintendo's mobile games, varying degrees. I played a lot of Fire Emblem, whatever it's called, on mobile this past year. Yeah, Heroes. I played a lot of that. I think Mario Run was an interesting experiment. They had that what was it, that free-to-play RPG, Dragalia Lost, which was actually a really, really great RPG, and then they shut it down and can't play it anymore. But that would be a cool franchise for them to revisit at some point in like a meaningful console way. So yeah, I think mobile gets a bad rap because you think of Candy Crush or all these match 3 kind of gotcha games, trading card games. You think of the people that spend thousands of dollars on these mobile games and then complain about a $70 game on your PlayStation, right? Like, I think mobile games get a bad rap for that, but I actually think there are a lot of interesting, mechanically interesting, graphically interesting games on mobile. And I think Angry Birds is one of the best games of all time, honestly.
It should be awesome. Like a Game Hall of Fame type title. I think
it was nominated last year.
There you go.
But it didn't make it. I think Metroid got in instead, but
that's fair. And I also think there's a big distinction between just mobile games as a slice of that pie versus kind of like maybe where I come in with that negative stink is not necessarily the mobile gamings themselves, but the fact that I see a lot of young kids with their iPads and their iPhone, all they play is Roblox and do that open mouth cough, and they will refuse to play any other game because that's all they want to play. But that's not the mobile gaming market's problem. That's just that's another thing. So
yeah.
I was wondering about that because my son, he's a little bit older now, and he still does certain games. I'm like, he's on his phone. A lot of it feels like it's filler rather than like a full on like I would seek that out to play it. I'm just bored and I want something to do. And then a lot of it is social now. A lot of kids are just on Roblox to be social. They're not necessarily doing it because they like the gameplay. They just want to do stupid stuff and be with their friends, kind of like the old days when you'd, I guess, do whatever you do with your friends that you did back then, but you didn't have a game involved. So I do think it's great that we do have alternatives like, Apple Arcade, where they do take away the monetization portion. So you just get the gameplay and you don't have to worry about the gotcha part or, the addictiveness nature of those things. Yeah. I think Android has something with their Play service. I think they have something similar. But to your point, yeah, I mean, it can be a challenge. I went through that with my kid where he was spending money that he shouldn't have, and it can be a challenge. So I guess it depends on it's trying to understand like why they're gaming and what they're getting from it. Are they getting a good gaming experience, or do they not care and they just want something to fill their time, do something stupid? But I mean, like even like a Vampire Survivor game, the mobile game is awesome. It's free and I can play it, and it's completely the full game and I can play it. I'm sure there's some elements where you might pay, but it's great and it works awesome. So Yeah, some people do it good, some people don't. I mean, think of like the MiHoYo games where it's you play as much as you want for free, and then if you want a chance to get the hero you want, you can potentially spend a lot of money. So it's a slippery slope. But it was interesting in some of the stats that I saw. I was surprised how low Switch was. Like,
yeah.
But is this 2019?
Yeah,
So maybe
it's so
Switch wasn't.
exactly. I think 2019 ended up being a huge year too. So I was trying to find more recent data, but yeah, the one that you're talking about, Todd, is this platform popularity was in 2019. So this is like take it with a grain
How
of
is the
salt.
Xbox beating Switch? Right? You think of like Animal Crossing and how big it got to be like the biggest platform ever.
Animal Crossing didn't come out until 2020, right? I mean,
Exactly.
I think the pandemic really helped the Switch out. Gain that momentum. Obviously, the Switch is a great console, right? But like 2019, you think of that first half of that year, there wasn't much, right? I mean, I think we had New Super Mario Brothers U Deluxe and Bayonetta 2 were ported over, but like that fall, you had Link's Awakening, you had Astral Chain, you had The Witcher, you had Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, which whatever, that game was mediocre, but
3 out by then or no? Was it later?
Can't remember. No, but Splatoon 2's Octo something expansion came out that year. Nintendo had a huge year in the second half of the year in 2019, and I think Torna the Golden Country, the expansion to Xenoblade Chronicles 2 came out that year, and so Switch was still kind of like will it won't it type thing, right? And then obviously when Animal Crossing came out, and it was kind of over.
Right, and then the bar looks so low just because the percentage for computer and mobile popularity is so vast. Like it says 71.4% prefer computer and 47% prefer mobile. But I guess, depending on the population, the sample size and all that silly business. But, I just figured, take it with a grain of salt. It still says that mobile gaming is still here to stay. Maybe just might not be me. It might be.
My mom plays all those hidden puzzle games or the hidden picture games. Those 70-plus-year-olds. I mean, that's what they love to do. I do love the fact that these grids have the Wii and like 50 plus. The Wii is very popular with those olds.
Yeah.
I mean, Just Dance was still selling like 500,000 copies for Wii up until they stopped making it. I think they stopped making the Wii U version of that game before they stopped making the Wii version. So that should tell you everything you need to know about the Wii U.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking, like, America here, we aren't, like, mobile's big in America, but it is huge everywhere else in the world. Like, we are the ones who are behind in the mobile market. And I feel like a lot of its popularity is in the fact that it's, something that's easy to go. A lot of the foreign markets, transportation, like, a lot of them don't drive their own cars. They use like transit systems and public transportation, and that's just something very easy to do on a quick public transportation ride. Also, it's free. And that I was talking to some of our friends over at Toge, and that's one of the reasons they love to look at things on the mobile market and the PC first, is because everyone has either a computer or a cell phone, and they're constantly looking for things to just kind of fiddle around with, which would explain more of the hyper casual experience. I recently, though, kind of started getting into the mobile market myself here. Recently, a game, one of my favorite series just came out with a mobile game, Persona. Persona 5 The Phantom X just came out last week, and I am a huge Persona 5 fan, as you can tell, that I actually got a permanent on my skin. And like, it is amazing what it can do. It's a free to play game, but it feels very much like Persona, but there is also that gotcha system involved. But it's a system that you don't necessarily have to take effect, or take it's that you don't have to use unless you really want to, which the very first 5-star draw happens to be Joker, so I'm doing everything I can to get as much currency on that, and might have already spent $15 trying to boost my chances on it. So it is the very first mobile game that has ever gotten me to spend money. Congratulations, Sega. You did it. But it's actually very amazing of the quality that of game that these mobile markets have. Like the graphics are up there with like a PS4, and like the gameplay is also like it plays like Persona. You choose your skills, turn-based RPG. Uh, I would say though the only thing I really don't like about mobile gaming though is the fact that they can turn off the game at any time, and we see that a lot with like the RPGs in particular.
Or like
The
you see
near
that if your phone updates, the games, especially older ones, don't update with the phone, so you can't play them once your phone updates.
Yeah.
I remember when my son was so freaked out because his phone was going to die and he needed to get a new phone, but his like progress wouldn't save over in Battle Cats for some reason. I'm like, why is this happening? So odd.
Yeah. No, so like the mobile market sucks with game preservation. But it's I can see the appeal. I can see why it's growing and why people like it, especially with how games are becoming more expensive these days. It's easier to get something for free and have to, deal with the ads and the possible gotcha system than it is to, put money down for an $80 game.
Mm-hmm.
Especially for the younger folks who don't have that kind of disposable income.
Mm-hmm.
As long as there's controls for kids, because obviously they have very little control and they don't have their own income typically, so they're typically using adults and can create some really bad behavior. Of my son had that with like Zoo Friends game back when we had to get game cards for it and all these different things, and I would see would spend money on this. I'm like, really, is that where you want to spend your money on? And so it can create some parenting challenges because, as we said, all parents have to control everything. I'm like, you can't control everything your kid does, because if you did, you wouldn't have a life. You wouldn't be able to go to work. You wouldn't you can't track all their internet behavior. It's very difficult.
Right,
But,
or at
yeah,
least or at least be educated on it. And I'm sorry, I'll make my rant as short as possible, because I hear so many parents that just either don't give a poop or they don't try to learn. I'm not saying being expert in gaming, but if your kid wants to be involved in games, have some baseline knowledge. My next door neighbor's kid decided to just borrow, use their parents' credit card one day and make a bunch of I forgot if it was Fortnite or Roblox purchases without the parents' knowledge. I'm like, that's a problem. That's a real problem.
Yeah.
I told my son I would kill him if he ever did that.
Yep. My son at a young age did it to his grandparents because he was using their phone and bought a lot of credit, and they didn't realize that. I mean, he was like 6 years old, maybe.
Oh,
but it was like, oh my god, he spent $80. So they're like trying to get but
my gosh.
it was they just didn't realize it, and they didn't.
Yeah,
I didn't think that he was going to do that on their phone, but lessons learned, old people.
Lessons learned. Yes.
I also think like what made that problem more prevalent, I guess you would say, is the inclusion of things like Minecraft and Roblox and Fortnite on the phone, right? Because like every once kids get into like middle school and high school, like they have phones, right? And like that's where they can communicate with their friends and they can continue progress because those games are crossplay, and they can obviously the money thing is like a huge. My nephew's got in trouble for spending money on Fortnite, and it's just things that happen, and there are just parents out there that are not educated in games. It's not their fault if they're not interested, but like if your kids are, you gotta be a little bit more on the ball, right?
Always like their kids in tech, unfortunately, unless you're into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because a lot of parents still think video games are just Minecraft, Mario, and Call of Duty, right? And Fortnite now, but like they don't know the ins and out of the Fortnite store and the battle pass and the skins that you can buy that are $25 to $40 depending on what bundle you buy, and what is a V-Buck, or a Roebuck or whatever they're called.
I'm in gaming and I don't understand Fortnite, so that's a problem.
Yeah. I bought there was a Casey Jones skin a couple weeks ago, and I logged in and bought it, and I was like,
just for that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, am I going to use it? Probably not. I don't even remember the last time I played Fortnite, but it's Casey Jones. Got to have it.
Maybe we need a parental control for the parents too.
That's the sad thing. I put passwords on my Xbox and my Switch. I'm like,
oh my god, they have something for my use. I need to buy it. Like, what is it? All those games where it's like, oh, there's nostalgia, and they're introducing these characters. What, Beavis and Butthead is coming to Call of Duty? Come on.
Yeah. I mean, Jay and Silent Bob, the Ninja Turtles were all in this past year. Cheech and Chong, I think. Because, if anyone's relevant
in Call of Duty, so there you go.
If anyone's relevant in 2025, it's Cheech and Chong,
That's true.
Jeez. Oh, man. So, anyways.
Thank you, guys. It's good discussion.
I also, before we end this topic, I would like to shout out the Final Fantasy 15 Pocket Edition. A very great version of that game. It's also available on Switch, which is mostly where I played it, but it's also available on
phone. Is that where they had chibi heads?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Very shocked at how good that version of the game was.
That's cool.
Was it the full game?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And they adapted it to a more less demanding format, right?
Yeah, it's top down. It goes by the chapters, but like it's more linear. But other than that, it's the full story. It's all the missions and all of the quests, and it's just top down and very cool. Very cool. All right. Well, Todd, do you have a topic or no pressure?
Very quickly. I was very amused when I saw all of the castings come out for Street Fighter the movie in 2026. Like, we've got Jason Momoa as Blanca. We've got David Dalmatian as M. Bison. There's just really, and I have to find the complete list that's up to date.
One that's like 50 Cent.
Yeah, it's 50 Cent as Balrog. Yep, and then we've got potentially Alan Richardson coming on as Guile, that I've heard. Yes. So, like, we've got all these characters, and I'm like thinking, have you guys seen the original Street Fighter the movie with Jean-Claude Van Damme and all those goofy things?
I'm going to kick Bison's ass so hard that the next wannabe Bison is going to feel it.
So you have.
That answers that question for Pat.
I have not seen it either, and I think it's time I need to finally watch it. But I mean, it is interesting. Raul Julia is a great actor. That was his last role. And I'm thinking, we're getting this made, and I'm like, I feel like if it's made right, they'll just do a goofy version, not doing it like real serious, like a Mortal Kombat. But if I think about this, is there a video game movie on a franchise that we're not talking about like the high end, the big one, but is there like a goofy, fun video game franchise you would want to happen on the screen, and then who would you love to see in it? So I'm talking about just something back of the pocket, maybe a Mega Man thing, or I don't even know. Like, I mean, just, do you guys have one in mind? Because I just love the fact that we can be goofy and have fun with franchises now. They don't always have to be serious, like Twisted Metal. Very fun take on the franchise. So do you guys have something in mind?
I would love to see Phoenix Wright hit the big screen. But I'm not sure who I'd want to get to play the characters yet. That's a hard choice.
Man,
I'm guessing there is a live action.
Yeah, they did a Japanese live action.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they did an American version.
Suits? The guys from Suits?
I don't know who those are.
Okay.
It's only the most popular show on Netflix from 2004.
Exactly.
Pat, how did you miss that?
I don't know. Not something.
Ooh, I got one. Since it has to be like goofy and like not take itself seriously, what if they just made an Untitled Goose Game and an Untitled Goose movie?
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Let's see it.
Yeah.
Are you doing it from like the perspective of the goose?
I'm not sure. I only got to thinking of what it would be, but maybe it would be. Like if you strapped a GoPro to the goose, I don't know, and like maybe provide the occasional like Big Brother video cam like captures. I don't know.
Goose on the loose.
Yeah.
Man, there are so many games out there that could be fun. There's also a lot that could be like sort of serious, but like I don't know. Not that this would be goofy, but I think one of the games I would like to see animated, because it's so beautifully animated already, is Ori, like one of the Ori games.
Yeah.
But also, if we're sticking to Xbox franchises, I think one of the movies that would be absolutely hilarious would be like a Sea of Thieves movie. Kind of like almost like a Pirates of the Caribbean gone bad type movie. I think that would be super fun. I know this is happening already, but I think that Gears of War movie is going to be real stupid but real fun, because it's
picture more Michael Bay
out of that movie coming out. Is it a TV series?
There's a live action movie and an animated series coming to Netflix. They already have a director. Dave Bautista is like really, he's back on the horse of petitioning to be Marcus Phoenix again, but like I feel like he's too old now to play Marcus Phoenix. I don't know. They could do whatever. They can do whatever they want. I don't care.
We'll go with Kirby, and we're gonna have Ben Starr as Kirby.
Oh, jeez.
Oh, does Kirby talk?
He does in this movie.
Yeah,
maybe he's Meta Knight. Maybe he's Meta Knight, and then Kirby is just that guy that's just goofy.
Oh man, a Meta Knight. I could see Ben Starr doing Meta Knight. I could see that being a broody character.
I also think like that first Jak and Daxter game would make a really fun movie.
Corey, we're on the same wavelength. I was thinking Jak and Daxter, but I'm trying to figure out who I would have play. But I think that would be great.
Charlie Day. It has to be Daxter from
yes, absolutely.
Yes.
But you got to get somebody kind of like sort of serious to play Jack, like
Chris Hemsworth.
Well, somebody maybe, or someone who's like kind of funny, but in like a dry way, like almost like a John Krasinski type.
Oh, how about what's his name? The guy from who does the Lego Batman voice?
Will Arnett.
Will Arnett.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
kind of overly serious.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I think Jak and Daxter would make an awesome, just a fun animated movie. As long as Illumination doesn't do it. I'm
doing Duke Nukem. I'm doing Duke Nukem. Ooh. Bruce Campbell will be the voice.
So, did you hear the news about Adi Shankar bought the rights to Duke Nukem to do a Netflix animated series.
That's crazy.
Okay, so Bruce Campbell has to be the voice then, and it's going to be just like if you watched Ash versus the Evil Dead on streaming. Same thing. Ash is washed up, kind of past his prime, but he has to help people out. So I think this is the same way. You got to make Duke he's got to be brought down and kind of down, have a gut and trying to be past his prime and being shown up by people that are of a certain age. So I would love that if that happened.
I could see John St. John though, like pushing to reprise his voice though. Like John St. John lives for Duke.
Yeah. I know, but it's all based on Bruce Campbell. Hail to the crew. Yeah. I think you gotta go that
Time
way.
to kick ass and chew bubble gum, and I'm all out of gum.
That's right.
Hail to the king, baby.
The thing though is like a lot of the games that I would want to be movies have already become movies or TV shows. Like Uncharted, I'm a huge Indiana Jones fan, and like they already made the Uncharted movie, and it's getting a sequel. So like, sure, they're making the Zelda movie, which I'm quite concerned about, but that's okay. We talked about it a month ago at this point already, but
Death Stranding movie. The A24.
We are getting that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think Conker could be a lot of fun because he's kind of like a drunk squirrel doing crazy thing, taking on a poo monster.
Yeah, because like there's not enough like adult cartoon movies. We obviously have a lot of shows like Family Guy and American Dad and The Simpsons or whatever, but like there aren't very many movies that captivate those feelings. Right? Maybe because
they do well though. That's the thing. Like I don't recall the Simpsons movie doing that good, or the South Park movie. I don't know.
Did okay. I mean, like, what was the last one? Was that fast food movie? The movie with Seth Rogen made with
Sausage Party. Oh yes, no, sorry, that was the
food made. The food got sexy.
Yeah,
the bun and the hot dog.
Yeah.
The whole like 15-minute orgy at the end.
Yeah, that was
so classy. Yeah, so classy.
Mm-hmm.
You know what would make it? Speaking of classy, it would be like a really fun movie. I think it could be like almost like Shrek-like humor. Would be something like Viva Pinata.
Oh,
ooh, yeah,
that would be fun. Although that game would have to be relevant to.
I can see that being a kids' TV show.
It was a kids' TV show.
It was a TV show. That's right. Yeah,
and then it got canceled because nobody watched it. Because, well,
what about a Wario cartoon or a Wario movie? Wouldn't it be fun?
Cartoon would be fun.
Waluigi.
Yeah, of them just trying to, like, they're like the criminals that can't be criminals because they don't know how to do anything.
They're such like Jay and Silent Bob, just idiots.
Yeah, that would be fun. You could do like a Star Fox an animated movie that's kind of like a Star Wars style.
They have a Star Fox anime from the last game. They had those released.
So they are on YouTube. They are shorts, animated shorts, and they are very good.
Okay.
Unlike the video game, which was very not good.
Oh. Can we get a Donkey Kong movie with Seth Rogen?
I think we are. After the next Mario movie, which would be good. Yeah, I'm very intrigued to see how Nintendo starts treating their franchises moving forward, and it probably all hinges on that Zelda movie. Honestly, I mean Mario's Mario; they're going to make money regardless of Mario. But I think if Nintendo's going to take this seriously, it hinges on that Zelda movie.
If Zelda does good, I can see them jumping right to Metroid for a live action.
That'd be great.
Metroid would be good.
I mean, I could see them doing a lot more things from a Japan perspective with like Fire Emblem, where they would adapt them as anime. Mm-hmm. I mean, it kind of makes sense. Some of those things that's where they deserve to be as a series, not necessarily a full-blown movie.
Yeah, I mean, you could see Fire Emblem, you could see Xenoblade, you could see Splatoon, right? Splatoon already has a manga, so...
Yeah, exactly.
And if that new game that's coming out is what people are saying it is, I mean, there's a real story there, apparently, so...
It looks like an adventure game.
Yeah.
Like the single player stuff.
Yeah.
So I wonder if the single player is mission based. So I feel like they're probably going adventure based with this one. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I wonder if it's to me it looks like a survival game that you play with your friends.
Oh no.
But the term raiders kind of gives that vibe.
Well, right? He's an engineer, isn't he? Like he's an engineer, so maybe building too. Kind of survival, maybe. To your point. Mm-hmm. Building, crafting.
Yeah. I'm also shocked they never did anything other than those shorts with Overwatch.
Yeah.
People love
Blizzard
those
does great animation. They do great CGI for all their games. They should really just put out a really cool animated movie.
Yeah, I mean, it could even be an anthology series almost on each character, right? Like a...
Yep.
So, kind of like what Riot's doing with
Arcane.
Well, they were doing with the games, but Arcane would be part of that legacy.
Yeah.
I mean, did you see the recent Predator animated film where it basically had 3 different vignettes without? It was great. I really thought it was amazing. I would love to see them. I mean, it was very Arcane art style, Spider-Verse style. So I would love to see maybe more movements in animation versus live action, to be honest.
Yeah. You know what movie we are getting? It's an Expedition 33 movie. Apparently.
Are we?
Yeah.
Who's developing it?
I don't remember. I know. Yeah. I mean, who knows if it's ever going to get made, but they sold the rights for a film, although I feel like that would be a better series than a film. But yeah. Good topic, Todd.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, I'm going to forego my topic, and we can spend the rest of the time talking about what we've been playing. Todd, you are our esteemed guest. What are you playing?
South of Midnight is the game I'm committing to play because I've been distracted by so many games. I've been able to stay focused, so it'll be South of Midnight, which is amazing. And I really appreciate it. Like I was saying, I was able to play it streaming on my MacBook, and then basically I'm playing it on my PC because I have PC Game Pass, so I play it there. Great game. Minor nits to pick. I feel like some of the movement is not great. I feel like you're a little bit too slow. And then at times I feel like the music is really awesome. But then there's some songs where they picked like the voices. I'm like, the voice actor or the singer could have been better. I don't know. It just, some of them were so good. It's like, then you got others like, don't feel it's great. But I love its presentation. I love its focus on story and world building. It's really amazing. It's a really great game. But once again, this team, really Compulsion Games, have only made 3 games. So this is their first venture into really a 3D platforming action game. And I feel like the combat is an area where I think they'll improve their next game. But the traversal is awesome. The visuals are amazing. It reminds me of a Laika movie. It's wonderful. I love the game. I think I'm on chapter 8 out of 13. It's really got some interesting focus on trauma and dealing with that through different stories, through fables in the Deep South. Very cool. And then along with that, just trying out a bunch of other games. I just got, the Switch 2, which I've got right here. I'm not a big Mario Kart fan, but I do enjoy the multiplayer elements of it, like the game where you have the balloons on your car and you don't want to lose all your balloons. Don't know what it's called, but I think those levels are great. I think the cool Battle Royale version where you're trying to get like from 40 down to the top tier of the racing is great. The free play mode is okay. I hope they do more with it. But other than that, I'm really so excited for Bonanza that I cannot wait. So really biding my time. But then when I do play, after I finish South Midnight, I'm going to play Death Stranding 2. I've been trying to watch a video of what happened in the first game because I have no clue. I didn't play it. And I worry it's going to take me 3 hours just to find out what the hell happened in the first game.
It does have a recap in it, so
okay.
The game does have it doesn't go into super deep. It gives you the very basic outline of the main story of Death Stranding.
I do notice though on this podcast I'm very jealous because you guys have cats and my cats are upstairs, so they're not invading my territory.
I don't know if you should be jealous. Minna just jumped on the bed to fart in my face, so I
was wondering. You got the stink face right there. Yeah, my cat usually comes in my lap when she's got a stinky butt. It's not great. But other than that, I mean, Yeah, I haven't been playing a lot else than that. I keep getting distracted, and my son's playing Expedition 33, so I've been watching that game through his eyes, which has been great. I don't know if it's a game for me, but man, there's just too much to play.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's a lot.
Yep.
A lot to play. Expedition 33, Todd. Excellent.
I've got like one character in my crew, so that's how early I am. I think I got through the main thing. I'm like, I love the presentation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a turn-based guy. I know they've improved it, but I'm just, when my son tells me what's going on, I'm like, I'm not that good at dodging. I'm not that good at parrying. So probably not going to have a good game unless I make it so easy, then I'm like in baby mode.
That's fair.
Yep.
I've been raving about that game. People are probably tired of hearing me talk about it. So
beautiful. I mean, a $40 game that is made by a smaller crew that is on Game Pass. I mean, kudos to that team.
Yeah. It's great. Is that it, Todd? Is that all you've been playing?
Pretty much. Yeah, I'm just waiting for Bonanza and just getting through my library.
Yeah, Switch 2 is in a weird holding pattern for me too. It's just kind of like I'm waiting for Donkey Kong, really. Stephanie,
I do have one recommendation though before you move on.
Yeah.
On SD cards, Express cards at Walmart, take advantage of them. They're like $36 for 256. 512 is $62.
Ooh.
Walmart, they run great. They're Lexar rebranded. Get them if you can. Far cheaper. Work great.
Cool.
Good to know.
They don't have Mario on the package. That's like
True.
$30 alone.
Yeah, they're blue. It's Sony blue. Sorry, but yeah, it'll save you some money.
Wow.
And you'll never look at it again.
Sony blue. I love it.
Exactly.
Fun fact: Nintendo's credited on Death Stranding too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's right. The motion capture equipment or the
they're the studio they bought that's based in Miami helped with that game, so it's cool.
Because Nintendo will use that tech, won't they?
Yeah, they bought them to help port games to Switch 2, essentially. Okay. I think, and to help.
Thanks for the close-up stuff.
That Minna just wants to show the world her brown star. You guys get premium content. Those who watch it on YouTube.
Do we have to put a sticker over? You might want to put a sticker over top of it.
Yeah, or no, like a poop emoji.
Steph, you might want to timestamp that one. Just kidding.
That's fine. Stephanie, what are you playing?
I finally took a break per se from Cyberpunk 2077 because I can only play 2 huge games at the same time, and said huge game is Death Stranding 2. And Todd, I also did not play the first Death Stranding, so I did check out that overview. It at least got me at that baseline, but I probably will want to dig out a video because there's still a lot of questions.
What's also cool about Death Stranding 2 is that they added a codex to Death Stranding 2. So if they throw out a definition, they're pretty good at describing what that definition is.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, I definitely think Kojima was definitely mindful of the onboarding process. I'm a lore person, so I'll probably still look up a video. I know this sounds really dumb, I guess, for me. Maybe I'm not a real gamer, but I keep getting continuously impressed by the way games look and feel. And this is my first Kojima game, and I could just tell from like the opening, I'm like, well, this confirms everything that I thought about him, but it's one thing to think about something versus experience something, and he's a true artist and visionary, meaning like he's a little cuckoo, but I mean that in like the purest sense of like, I do feel true artists have to be a little bit on the quote unquote crazy side. And again, I only mean that as a compliment. It's just, that's the only way to come up with something truly different. And this is like, man, I got to start playing more of his games. This is my first Kojima game, like I said, so it's beautiful. I have to really calibrate because I'm used to just barreling and sprinting in all my games. And as
Let me
Pat
guess.
laughs.
You fell off the mountain right away.
I did. I fell off the mountain right away, lost all my cargo, and I had to restart my load point because I was very upset at myself.
You just rolled right through because you tripped on a pebble.
Yes, and like the more stuff you pick up, even though you're not like over limit, like you start like leaning
Mhm.
left and leaning right, leaning left, leaning right. I'm like, what the heck? Oh my gosh. And I'm like, but I want to fulfill all these missions because you pick up like lost cargo, but like I'm in the very rocky part of Mexico and it's like on the other side of the canyon and I only have like one ladder. I'm like, what the heck? So um motion capture is great. The sound design's great. I am very intrigued. I am a little overwhelmed, but I feel like that's kind of to be expected of the kind of
Mhm.
player jumping onto into this. So I'm looking forward to it. And then just on the complete other side of the spectrum, as I mentioned earlier, I am playing Academy of Super Pets. If you guys are looking for a free to play mobile game, I actually do think it is a nice game. It's almost like a cross between like Pokemon and Neopets, but not so much like Pokemon where Nintendo would sue them or anything. It's basically you go to an island and you adopt pets and then you train them and then they get superpowers like laser eyes and ice breath or stinky breath. And you travel to different caves on the islands to fight off mutant rats and defeat the Rat King. You get crystals, and these super crystals further power up your pets. And there's like a very, very light, I might have mentioned this last time I recorded. I apologize. This might be repetitive, but this is for Todd. I'm looking at you, Todd.
Oh,
From
okay.
very light RPG elements, nothing complex, but it's especially if it's someone that's never been exposed to RPGs before. Like, oh, you can improve your health stats. You can whatever. So anyway, I'm still playing that. I think I kind of almost hit the max of where I could upgrade my pets, but they said that their next update will be like this week or next week. So, heck, I have, like we said earlier in my topic, we have our phones all the time. So, like, whenever I'm waiting for something, I'll play like around like a cave while I'm waiting. So that's what I've been playing.
Nice.
I do have a question about Death Stranding. I know the first one, it was collaborative where people would leave things or find ways
Mhm.
to like bridge structures. Is
Still
that
do that.
same thing with Death Stranding 2? The longer it's out
Yes.
there, that you basically might find ways to, like you said, I only got one ladder. How am I getting it across? Is that something where it's like that's a good
Mhm.
thing to look forward to?
It is actually. I've stayed away from, I don't know why. Like I've never been exposed to that type of gameplay before and it's super cool. Like I'll see something in the distance and another player left a rope and a stick thing. I'm sorry, Pat, you could probably correct me with the right terminology. And you can assign
The
likes.
climbing anchor.
Yeah,
Oh,
climbing
yeah.
anchor. Yep. You can assign
Mhm.
likes. It's like freaky. I'm like, "Whoa." Like the game is about being connected and you are connected. I'm sorry, it's just like very
Mhm.
meta. It's
Well,
cool.
that's
It is cool.
cool. I like that. I like that. It's
Yeah.
kind of like with the Souls games where people would leave notes, right? Like,
Yeah.
don't go there because you will die.
Yeah. No, the interconnection in Death Stranding is a very beautiful thing. It was probably one of the elements I love the most in the original one because the game is about trying to create that connection and how we survive together versus apart, and how Kojima just forces that onto you through the gameplay. By you just making your own path, you can help someone else with their path to follow after you by like leaving a ladder to cross over water, or eventually you'll be able to build roads and monorails and like zip lines, and that will help other people along the way too. So it's simply
You,
incredible just what that game does.
Pat, you want to know my contributions so far have been
A
two
ladder?
ladders, two ladders,
Yeah.
and they're ladders to cross a river, and I didn't realize they weren't long enough, so it wasn't even a good ladder. It just like halfway into the
Love
Works
it.
okay.
Trial and error.
hmm Yeah.
I'm not a real gamer, but it's fun.
I'm not either.
Yeah.
I've never played. I'm like, I'm so worried. I'm gonna
But
fall over and like I'm done with this game. I need balance in my life. Like
But
the unbalance in the game.
I can't
The
stress
game
it
will
enough.
teach you
though.
balance.
Balance,
Steph?
and it's just yes.
The game will teach you balance.
I'm
Hold the left
making
trigger. Hold the right trigger.
I'm
Brace
making
yourself.
Sam look like he is a stumbling drunk. Like that's how he's walking in my game. He's stumbling drunk.
What's great though is that, like, as you move through terrain, you have like a hidden stat that levels up, so you do get better at your movement. The same as like if you put on a certain weight load, like that kind of helps build up a stat that helps him be able to hold more weight better.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
and then you also get other equipment that will help out. Like they're called skeletons. They're kind of like robotic legs that help with stability as well as speed and other things. And you also get vehicles. You get vehicles pretty early in the game too.
Good. Can't wait
Yeah,
for that.
Yeah, I've heard they've done a lot to like go from the director's cut where they like added things in, and seems like he's finally getting to the point where it's like this is less about some of those things versus they're adding more combat, and which is my focus in my entry. When I saw the guys with the dueling guitars that are like shooting lightning, like I'm all in. I don't know if I'll be all into the traversal with packages.
Yeah, no, the traversal is still majority of the game. Like it is.
Oh, okay.
The gameplay is you pick up deliveries and you deliver them to other locations, and it's for me that's actually very zen. That gives me in a flow state. Like all of a sudden I will have all these packages going to like different locations, and I will map myself like a circuit just to drop things off, because if you build up those relationships with those different locations, they give you some really good equipment or other like things that help you out. So it's important to kind of build them up and
Well,
make
I've got
those
2
deliveries.
weeks to figure out this game's for me because once Bonanza arrives, Death Stranding will be a game of the past. So, yeah.
Fair enough.
Nice. I did get the first game on sale on Xbox for $20 last week. So
Director's Cut, is that the one that came out to Xbox?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
because it was a PlayStation exclusive first, and then when it finally came to Xbox, they did Director's Cut.
Mm. So the next game for me is either going to be that or Final Fantasy 16. So we'll see.
You like cutscenes, Corey? Because both those games have got a lot of cutscenes. But
Sure.
16 was great. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, a lot of people complain they hate the cutscenes in 16, but I loved it, and so did my son.
That's fair. A lot of people complain about a lot of things, though, Todd, on the internet.
True.
I don't know if you knew that or not.
What? No.
Both are
no,
good games, Corey. I recommend either.
Yeah, I'll get there. Pat, what are you playing?
Well, other than the Death Stranding 2, some of the games that I've been playing that I've been working on, one was a Switch game called The 100-Line Last Defense Academy. This is by the creator of Danganronpa and Raincode, Master Detective Archives. So if you played those games, you kind of know exactly what to expect. Very interesting cast of eccentric characters. And some interesting plot twists going on. And the 100-Line Last Defense Academy is mostly a visual novel, but it also has tactical, a tactical RPG battle system as well, where you have to defend your school for 100 days from these invaders that are trying to destroy it, because it holds something that could bring about their end in 100 days. The tactic gameplay is very interesting. This is a game that kind of encourages you to kill your characters off. It's not a permadeath, but if your characters are weak, you can actually then do a move that will kill them, and then they revive on the next wave. But it's like a super powerful move, and it also builds up a meter that allows you to continue to use super moves, but without killing off your characters. and you get points for killing off your characters. So it helps with your battle rank. Yeah, it's interesting. Like your characters have this. Like one of the premise in the game is that your characters, if they die, they just get revived again through this revival-matic machine, and then they go back out into combat. So it was an interesting take after playing games like Fire Emblem, where you don't want your characters to die, especially if you have a permadeath. To, you know what? If they're low on health, send them on a kamikaze run, and to have them take out as many people with them. But the story is this is probably the largest visual novel game in the history of visual novel games. In fact, I think the writing itself, they said, is the equivalent of 60 novels.
Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, how is that possible? But the game has 100 endings and like 22 different paths that you can end up taking, because this is a collaboration not only with the guy who did Danganronpa, but the guy that did the Nonary game series, the Virtue's Last Reward Zero Time Dilemma, which is a game that's all about like branching paths and then having to go back through paths to like get more bits of the stories before you can find the golden path that leads to the true ending. This game also does that too. But like I said, with 22 paths and 100 different endings. So I have beat the original ending. You have to beat the game once before it allows you to branch off into these paths. And so now I'm working on a path where I tried to divert what happened the first time, and now all of a sudden I have a serial killer somewhere in the campus that's trying to kill off my teammates.
Yikes.
But then there's other paths that could just be more like, oh hey, this is all about a coming of age story, or like there are some very interesting paths, including a killing game path in honor of the guy who makes Danganronpa, the original killing game or killing game where students all have to compete to kill each other for whatever the grand prize is. Battle Royale style. It's very interesting. It's a very ambitious game, and I really like what he did with it because it's probably his best work yet.
Nice.
This director. Also, I've been playing Date Everything. It is literally a dating simulator that also has over 100 things that you can date, and these things are all furniture that you find in your house.
Nice.
Yep.
Cool.
That chair you farted on. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's crazy, like all the different kind of personalities that these guys like have. For example, one of them's a sofa, and he has a very laid back. It's almost like a Polynesian, like he's a Polynesian character, but he's very much into a comfortable silence. So if you want to try and romance him, you want to be, willing to accept like just being able to sit there in silence and just absorb the, just that peaceful atmosphere. But then there's also ones like a magnifying glass that wants to be a detective, or a chandel or a candelabra that likes to spread rumors, and of course Ben Starr as Dorian, who plays 18 different doors in your house.
That's hilarious.
Dorian.
Also, I found Neil Newborn's character Drysdale. Oh my gosh. I've never heard like really Neil Newborn characters before, but wow, he's a very eccentric character. Drysdale comes off as a very arrogant, like it's all about him, kind of a character, which I think, from what I hear, that's kind of what his Asterion character is like.
Mm.
Like a very self-centered, very like, I am the main star, and I'm perfect in every way, shape, and form. I don't know.
Have you, Pat? Have you played Resident Evil Village, or you not? You don't play those games?
Oh no, I did play Village. Was he in that one?
Neil Newbon was Heisenberg.
Oh,
Isn't
okay.
that crazy? I actually really liked Heisenberg and his character. So
Heisenberg was good. Yeah, no, I didn't realize that was Neil Newborn. Did you hear that Neil Newborn and Ben Starr are making a horror game?
No.
It
That's
was
awesome.
just announced. Shit,
Yes.
who's making this game? It's the guy who did the Tales of Kanzara. That guy,
Really?
his studio is making this game starring Neil Newborn and Ben Starr, who are apparently the same, like two different characters, but they're like one character. He just released a trailer on, like, just a teaser trailer on Twitter. So,
All right. Nice.
but yeah, date everything. Date over 100 different objects. You can either get them to love you, like you, or hate you. And from my understand, this literally has like every voice actor known to man in it. Like, it's absolutely insane. The character, like everyone that they got in, from Troy Baker, Laura Bailey, Matt Mercer, Ben Starr, Neil Newborn. Like, it's got them all.
Nice. Is that it?
Yep, I'm good with that.
Cool. As for me, nothing too new for me. So I've continued my journey in New Game Plus with Expedition 33. I'm not going to harp on what I think is great about that game because I've done it for 3 episodes in a row. But it's great. I also jumped back into Destiny 2 a little bit this week to kind of dip my toes back in the water since Edge of Fate comes out in 2 weeks. Very interested to see how they move forward. I mean, there are definitely ways they are moving forward that make sense, but it's just, the final shape was such a definitive end. And then there was such mixed reception on the episodes that came out after the final shape. And obviously the studio stuff going on there, between the layoffs and the marathon debacle. And, I think a lot is riding on Destiny right now in a way that is probably unfair to the game and the developers who work on it. But I'm really interested. They've been very forward of tempering expectations with the Year of Prophecy, which is what the next kind of set of expansions is called. Kind of small, intimate stories that they're telling. 4 seasons across 2 expansions. One is a Star Wars themed expansion this fall called Renegades. Han Solo's blaster is an exotic hand cannon, so that's cool. So yeah, I'm really interested to see how they kind of move forward. This is everything they're changing with the game in 2 weeks is essentially Destiny 3 and everything but name. They're changing the way exotic weapons work, armor works, stats work. They're overhauling the entire game, and it's going to be interesting to see how they make that sandbox work.
Corey, I was going to ask you. I know we go back in the Destiny days.
Mm-hmm.
I'm stuck on Last Light. I need to finish this fight. I need to get through the final shape. I own it, so I may need some support because my son has abandoned me. He is like done everything. He's like, Dad, I'm not playing any more Destiny 2. Blah blah blah. I'm like, okay. So I want to finish my Destiny destination. So I need to hit the Last Light and then do the final shape. So I may need to call in some support because obviously doing it solo is a little bit rough. I don't do the raids, don't do that stuff, but I want to finish the story. So I may do a call out for support just to make it fun, play like the old days in Destiny because that's why I loved it.
Cool. Yeah, just let me know. I assume you're What are you playing on PC or PlayStation?
I got it on PlayStation. That's where all my stuff has been. So I was on 360 I was on Xbox for a while because it was free there, and I just have been. Obviously, you can move your stuff around. So, but I own Last Light and Final Shape on PlayStation. So if you want to play, I'll call you in, and hopefully you can help me because obviously you'll clean house, and I'll just be there to say thank you for carrying me.
Yeah, it's cool because I mean the Final Shape, Todd. You've been there essentially since day one with Destiny and Destiny 2. I mean, that's how this game is how we met, right? Essentially.
Absolutely. So, yeah, back in the alpha, on PlayStation 4, 2014. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, you're going to really appreciate the Final Shape. Even if you're a lapsed player,
I am.
Depending on what kind of player you are. If you've been there since the beginning and you know at least who the main players are in this game, you're gonna.
Well, my son's been giving me all the lore. So, Steph, lore. My son is a Destiny lore whore, as I would say, and he won't be offended because he's like, Dad, all this stuff. I'm like, okay, cool. So I'm up to speed to a large extent, but I just need to finish the fight.
Yeah, it's. I'll help you out if you need it.
Okay,
just let me know.
I'll be on it.
I've also started my Xenoblade Chronicles journey.
Ooh, okay.
I've only played a couple.
Start?
What? Start?
From the start?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yep.
Started his 500-hour journey.
Yeah.
I was to say there's only a few games.
I am at Pat, you played through this game, right? The first one.
Yes.
Yeah. So I just got to the point where you kind of climb up that mountain-esque thing and like you're in this kind of building and all these drone type mechanical monsters kind of try to shoot you down. And then I just went back down to kind of fight some enemies on a bridge. So that's where I'm at. Bridge
between the Bionis and Mechanus?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Somewhere in there.
That was a good fight. That's essentially the sword, right? You're on the sword. Mm-hmm. Okay, yeah. No, that was a good area. A lot of action.
So I'm gonna do it this time. I also re-downloaded Final Fantasy VII because I feel like I need to re-push myself through that game.
Oh no! Just go to the remake, dude.
Nope.
Just go to the remake.
Nope.
Go to the remake.
Nope. I'm playing the first one first.
He's so stubborn.
You're not restarting the first one, are you?
It's part of my charm.
Where are you getting all this free time, Corey?
I don't have any free time. That's
exactly. So why are you doing this to yourself?
My sleep is my free time, and I don't get any of that either. So,
are you at least starting where you left off
in Final Fantasy VII?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not starting over. I can't. If I had to start over, I wouldn't play it. What I've played so far, I'm just like, I got to get this over with because I can't stand it.
Why are you doing this to yourself, Corey?
Because I need the context.
Why do you hate yourself, Corey?
We don't have enough time on the rest of this podcast to
watch a recap, move on. That's what I say.
So yeah, I have a lot of like big games I want to tackle over the course of the summer, and we'll see if it happens or not. But yeah, so far those big games are Xenoblade Chronicles, Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy 16, and Death Stranding. So
you're living in 2022.
Yeah. So is Xbox, apparently. So yeah, but that's it. I don't have anything else interesting to say about what I've been playing. But you know what is interesting? The end of this podcast, because we made it. Made it all the way here. Todd, thank you so much for joining us. Always love having you on the show. There's not enough podcasts or enough time to talk to you all the time. But I appreciate you answering the call, if you will. Why don't you remind everybody where they can find you at and where they should listen to Secret Friends Unite?
Well, thank you so much for having me back. It's great to talk to everybody. It's been too long, Corey. You haven't been on the show in a while. We need to have you back. Steph, it's been a while since you've been on. So you need to come back. Pat, when you're available, let me know. We'd love to have you on too. We just want to have more voices in the world of gaming, geek culture. We're all that on secretfriendsunite.com. We have a Patreon if you want to get into that for all our stuff first, but all our stuff goes on to our feed if you like geeky interviews with, we interviewed the guy that did the voice of Lino from Thundercats. It was very fun. So we do a lot of fun stuff out there, but we like all the things in the world of geek. But follow us there at Secret Friends Unite on the threads and the Blue Skies, at Todd Oxtra, at T Oxtra on Blue Skies and the threads. So follow us there. And once again, thanks for having me on.
Woohoo!
Of course, Todd. Links to Todd and Secret Friends will also be in the show notes. So if you forget, just click it. One tap, you're there.
No excuses.
No excuses. Stephanie, Pat,
just to make sure. I always double tap, even if you need one. You tap that shit.
Jeez, on that.
Tap it dry.
Oh, no. Okay. Stephanie, Pat, thank you for your time tonight, as always. And everybody out there watching live on YouTube, Twitch, and the platform formerly known as Twitter. Thanks for joining us.
Mayo.
Thanks for chatting with us in the comments. Everybody out there, you can find all of our content on bossrush.net, including all of our podcast episodes, Boss Rush banters, features, reviews, some news, and more. A lot of indie game stuff. So if you're interested in that, check that out. Stephanie contributes a ton over there. I'm trying. I wrote a Destiny article today. So if you want to find out what's happening in Edge of Fate, you can check that out over there. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Leave us a 5-star rating and a nice review on your podcast service of choice if you listen there. Todd, thank you again. Stephanie, Pat, thank you for your time as always. Everybody out there, thank you so much for watching and or listening. And until next time, we love you. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.
If you want to see how you can become a Patreon producer, head on over to patreon.com/BossRushNetwork. The Patreon producers for this month are Adriel Munger, Austin Campbell, Celeste Roberts, Sana Deering, Francisco Santillan, Matthew Keel, Retro Stoy, and Christian S. Thanks for your continued support of the Boss Rush Network.